Have you ever had a midnight experience?
Yes.
I'm talking about a time where things did not go anywhere near like you thought they would go at all. A midnight experience, a time when you felt like this, where nobody seemed to care, nobody seemed to understand, nobody seemed to even be concerned about what you were going through in life. So the question is raised during that midnight time. We're so ready to give up that sometimes life does not even seem to be worth the struggle. Ready to give up. Sometimes ready to give in. It's tired of giving. It's tired of giving and never receiving anything in return. And sometimes so ready just to get out. That you've been giving and giving and giving, and nothing's been coming in and in and in, and eventually get to a point not only where we're ready to give up, ready to give in, or ready to give out. The question is sometimes raised even during that time, and now, let's be clear, everybody in here has had a midnight experience. Let's be real clear about it. Everybody had a time where you did not know you didn't feel like praying anymore or praising anymore. And so when you look at our scripture today, we're going to see how biblically somebody dealt with their midnight experience. But there are times that come in life where it seems like everything bad is happening to us. And we're wondering, like, you see, even on your way to church, you saw folks clean up their car. Your car don't get like a little bit of gas, and you don't praise it, you'll be praying to get home. The idea is you're wondering, all these things go on, and it seems like the closer you try to get to God, the more things crumble. And the more you're trying to fast and trust in God, the more things, and from unexpected people and unexpected places, these things come up in our lives. So the question we raise is, why do these bad things keep happening? And then somebody asks us the question, how we're doing. We say, fine. Really knowing all along, and if you can't make it says we're confused and broken and don't feel like we're good enough, and we're anxious and we're falling apart, and nobody seems to know about it, nobody seems to care about it, we seem defeated and rejected. We say fine with our lips, but our lives say that everything is really, really challenging. And there come times in life, and I'm telling you, as a church, we have got to be more honest with each other.
Amen.
And may not make it look like we always got it all together. Because everybody has a midnight experience. Everybody has some challenges in life. And everybody has some times when we are going through. And if we're not honest to tell somebody, look, I went through, but God brought me through.
Yes.
And otherwise, it looks like we always seem to have it together. And we've done such a good job of masking before the world that we even come into church masking. And it's time to stop unmasking all these other layers we have going on and say, if it had not been for the goodness of the Lord, we would not even be here today, able to make it from day to day. So there are times when we have a midnight experience and we have said and responded fine when all these things have gone on, felt confused and betrayed and hurt, and wondering why folk who seem to love you and know about you don't even ask how you doing. So here's the question. So since we have agreed we have midnight experiences, the question is, what leads to our midnight experiences? What leads to that? I'm going to give us a couple of words that begin with F, and we'll spend time on some more than others. And the last one I would offer to you may end up being more surprising than the first couple of ones. So all these words, so in other words, if we take a look biblically, and in our own lives at midnight experiences, what happens, what has led us to experience these midnight times in our lives? First of all, in our lives, fear. Fear will inevitably lead to a midnight experience. Fear, and we've heard these things before, and you hear this little false evidence appearing real. No, sometimes the evidence is real. And so let's be real, that thing is not false. That a line coming from you, that thing is not false. So the idea was, so fear will cause us sometimes not to be in a position where we're able, it will lead us to have, if we're not careful, if we don't manage fear, fear will manage to take us down to a midnight experience. Our role, and we have the authority, we have the right, we have the dominion to manage fear in our lives. So here's what fear really is. When we experience fear, forget that false evidence of being real. It is forgetting every amazing revelation. You know God has been good. You know God has been kind. And God has given us revelation. And there are times when we face a situation in life we forget every amazing revelation God already gave. God already told you you're the head and not the tail. God already told you you're above and not beneath. God already told you the top and not beneath. And sometimes when we forget those things when we're going through our valley experiences, and if we don't rein fear in, we will forget every amazing revelation. Now here's what happens. So what happens? Many believers, not just some believers, walk around bound by fear. Now what happens? Now, please read this with me together. The fear you allow will continue. If we allow fear, it's going to continue. So the implication is then, I have the right, I have the dominion, I have the power, I have the authority to either allow fear to continue or cause it to stop. We have the power through the blood of Jesus to, now here's the point. We still tend to think, I remember one of our relatives tells us, everybody has to feel something. No. What's the word have to say about this? Please read this with me right here. God's plans for my future are far greater than my fears. Can you just give God a hand clap of praise for that? His plans for my future are a whole lot greater than my fear right now. If you can read this with me. Don't let the fear of the unknown keep you from experiencing God's best. Anybody ready to experience God's best? I said, really ready to experience God's best. Fear is the thing that gets us out of position from receiving God's best. So what does the scripture have to say about fear? Please, you know this from 2 Timothy 1:7. Let's read this together boldly. For God has what? What? Not given us the what? Spirit of fear. But of what? Power and of love and of a sound mind. So what happens? So we have all these scriptures that tell us, do not fear. The implication is we have the right and the authority and the dominion not to fear. The fear we allow will always continue. And that fear will oftentimes lead us to a midnight experience. Not only fear, watch this next one. Now, I got to tell you about this one. This one right here from Isaiah 41:10. I told you all before. I remember growing up, I had a younger sister and younger brother. And my dad had left, and my mom was trying to go through here and now trying to live off one income when she had two incomes. And things were not looking good, and we were behind on the mortgage, and lights being cut off, and things were going on. And I remember my mama getting this verse right here from Isaiah 41:10. It was just become one of my verses whenever things are going on in life. And she posted these scriptures all over the house. In the bathroom, on my forehead, on the refrigerator, everywhere around the house. And let's read this together. What does it say? Fear not. For I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. You kept on going. God says, I will help you. I will hold you. I will uphold you by my right hand. Don't you go in the midst of your fear. Don't you give up, because God says, I've not forgotten about you. And I remember my mama just declaring that. And I had never seen the power of confession before. And I remember her, she get now you only get a couple doses, but at that point you get like 5 doses. Like I'm telling you, the next dose you get, we're gonna come. I'm gonna get one more time. I'm gonna give one. No, that takes stuff. And I remember her getting this notice, and I remember her looking at the bill, not having any money to pay. Had already tapped out relatives. You know how relatives always come around, you got a little something in your pocket, or you need something, and all of a sudden the same folk could not be found. And I remember her looking at that bill. And I remember her turning to the scripture, and I distinctly heard her say, and read this verse, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will help you, I will hold you, I will uphold you by the right hand of my righteousness. And she kept on saying that until by the time she got through saying it, she started believing it. See, when I say it, I'm going to see it. Yeah. I said, when I say it, I'm going to see it. And I'm telling you, and to this day, I can say it before you, to say in the midst of all those financial challenges, we never got put out the house, we never got put out, because God honored it by standing on his word. Don't let fear, the fear we allow will always continue. We have the authority, we have the right to make sure that fear stops. We got the power by the blood of Jesus to stop that fear in our lives. Forget that false evidence. It is forgetting every amazing revelation. Give you another F right here, failure. Failure will sometimes lead us to a midnight experience. Failure. So what happens? When people fail, this is what they say. I'm a failure. Now, this is really interesting to me. People can make a cake and not say I'm a cake. They can make a pot roast. They don't say I'm a pot roast. But people fail and say I'm a failure. Just because you failed does not make you a failure. What I do is not who I am. Oh, good God from Zion. What I did does not lie with who I am. I am a child of God. I am a believer in the Lord. I am redeemed. I am raised. Now, I may have done something contrary, but what I do is not who I am. And so too many times when folks fail, they make the assumption then and start concluding I'm a failure. So please read this with me right now. Failure does not mean what? I'm a failure. It does mean I have not yet succeeded. So here's what all failure is just a different route to success. Not going to go down. Now, if you know when you go ahead and ring the front doorbell, somebody pops you in your nose. Don't ring the front doorbell again. Go to the back. At some point, if you don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, this failure now says, I don't go down that road because now I must have an alternate road to the success God has for me. So here's what failure really is. It's simply first attempt in learning. Yeah, I failed. But I'm going to grow from it. I failed, I'm better for it. I failed, I'm not going to let it hold me down. I failed, I'm going to go higher. I failed, I'm not going back down that road again. I may have messed up, but I'm not going to mess up again because God has been too good, and God has been too great, and God has been too awesome. So it becomes this my first attempt in learning. So repeat after me this right here. What? I am not a failure. Again, I am. How many failed? How many failed? Yeah, but we're not a failure. Amen. And give God if you know you're not a failure right now, please join me in giving God one more hand out of praise and not being failure. So from Psalm 73:26, it says, my heart and my flesh and my heart fail. But God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. That I may have failed, but God is still my strength. I may have failed, but God has not given up on me. I may have failed, but God has not turned his back on me. I may have failed, but God has not run away from me. I must remember in our role in the midst of all our failure and fears that lead to midnight is to remember that God is still present with us. Psalms 73:26. Here's the next F right here we're talking about very quickly. Faults. Faults. Let me give you if I were to ask you the question, what's a fault? What is a fault? Anybody? What's a fault? Fault is what? Flaw, mistake, okay. Let me give you what the biblical definition is as a fault. Fault is being defective and wrong. And so as a result, sometimes when people start talking about their faults, they're really saying, I'm kind of defective. I don't quite measure up. That I'm lacking over here. And what happens? People go to the extremes with these faults. Either somebody will go to the extreme and say, everything's my fault. World hunger, my fault. Everybody being late, that's my fault. Or they'll go to the other extreme and say, it's all your fault. Won't take responsibility for anything. And so, in some kind of way, and so this fault, this defective being wrong. And so, please read it. Zig Ziglar has now gone to be with the Lord, but a wonderful man of God who really did a lot by way of making sure that Christianity was infused in businesses. Read this with me together, please. Some people find fault like there's a reward for it. They just try to find, they're going to get like 20 points for finding somebody's fault. And if you notice very carefully, watch this carefully now. The folk that spend the most time trying to find fault got more stuff going on in their life. They're trying to deflect stuff. If I got a Russia investigation going on, I want you to look up. So anyway, so the idea was, the point here is that when these faults are occurring, that it's about saying I'm going to go try to look for somebody else's faults rather than trying to examine my own faults and get those straight. So please read this with me. The worst of our faults is our interest in others' faults. At some point, got to spend time trying. See, this is the thing that gets me. It takes every minute of every day by praying to keep me straight. I don't have time to get in your business. This thought comes in and this action comes in, and I'm trying to keep that under the power of the Holy Ghost. I don't have time to be meddling in your house because I'm trying to get me straight and think of God. I thank you right now for the grace, and I thank you for your love, and I thank you for your honor. I don't have time to go back and get all of your business because right now, God, I thank you that had it not been for your power and it had it not been for your love, would have made some mistakes even worse than I did before. At some point, it's about saying I'm not going to keep focusing on other people's faults, but recognize at this point there are flaws here and submit them before God to be all God's called us to be. So please read this. Don't find fault. Find a remedy. Anybody can complain. I'm telling you, folk, boy, I'm telling you, there's some folk that can complain. They complain about complaining.